Hello YouTube, this is Random Nation coming at you with yet another phone review. Jacob Thibault said that he has the Apple iPhone 5, and we're going to take a quick look at its technology here. Okay, it's got the same technology as far as GSM, CDMA, all that kind of stuff as most phones. 3G, 2G, all that good stuff. Looks like it's running 3.1 megabits per second on average, and it came out in September of 2012. It's 4.87 inches. I mean, it's a rather small phone compared to most phones nowadays. Let's see, it's got the LED touchscreen like most phones nowadays. The resolution is really low on it. It's got 640p resolution. It's got the Gorilla Glass, as most phones have nowadays. It's got iOS 6, but it's upgradable to iOS 10.3, which is really good because, they tend to make it where most of the older phones can't upgrade to the highest point, so it's good that it can get to that. It's got the Apple A6 chipset. It's got the dual-core 1.3 gigahertz Swift ARM v7 based. It's got that PowerVR SGX 543 MP3 triple-core graphics card. It's got no memory card slot, which means you cannot add extra memory to it. But you can have 16, 32, or 64 gigs. So that's one thing I don't like right there. I like having a spot to where I can put an SD card. Even if I had 64 gigs worth of internal memory, I would still prefer to have to where I can add an SD card. That way, if, for some reason I need to reset my phone, I can save all my stuff to my SD card that I want to save and just bring it back up without having to do re-download on everything. The primary camera is 8 megapixel, which is decent, but it's not really that great. Because if you remember, the Z Max has the 13 megapixel camera. The features has touch focus, geotagging, face detection, panorama, HDR photo, which I don't say I can have HD photo when it's only getting 8 megapixels. The video quality is 1080p, so that's decent. The secondary camera, which is the front-facing camera, only has a 1.2 megapixel camera, so that means it's really crappy front camera compared to what we're used to nowadays. The vibration. It's got all the ringtones. It's got a loudspeaker. It does have the headphone jack. But it does have noise cancellation, which is a good thing, because that means if you're talking on the phone, you ain't got to worry about it picking up every single noise in the background. It's got the basic Wi-Fi on it. It's got basic Bluetooth. Actually, Bluetooth now is at 4.1, I believe. It does have GPS on it. It does not have an infrared, doesn't have a radio, which sucks because even my little cheapo phone has the radio on it. The connector, of course, is the Apple charger. It's that specific charger you have to have. But it is the reversible one. But, like I said, it just sucks that you have to have that specific charger. You can't just go out to the store and grab a little cheapo. But nowadays, almost every store you go to has Apple iPhone chargers, so that's not really too big of a deal. It's got the basic sensors, which is accelerometer, gyro, proximity, and compass. The messaging, it has the basic messaging. It has the basic Safari, or you can actually download Google browser on there if you want to. I always download Firefox myself because it's just the easiest one to use. It does not have Java. It does have Siri, which is pretty cool. iCloud service, which on pretty much any phone that you have, you can get cloud services. So that's not really that big of a deal. It has a document editor. It has a 1440 megahertz battery, which means that it has a pretty decent sized battery. It says that you have a 225 hours worth of standby time and 225. That's on 3G and 2G. Talk time has 8 hour. And music playing, basically if you turn music on, it'll play music for up to 40 hours. Now, I don't know where they always get these times from on how long batteries last, because I've never in my life had a phone that lasted 225 hours while just sitting by itself. Maybe two days, you know. But 225 hours is a long time. There's only 24 hours in a day, so you can imagine 225 hours, you know, is a minute, you know. So, and 40 hours worth of music playing time, that means it's almost 2 days worth of playing music. And I just don't see that with any phone. Let's see. The colors are black, slate, white, or silver. Oh, black and slate, white and silver. Okay. So from what it's looking like, it looks like it's a pretty decent phone for the time when it came out. Because this is an older phone, so when it came out, it was probably a decent phone. Let's see what the reviews say on it. The iPhone 5, as in 5 million units sold over the course of a weekend. In other words, 500 million people went out there trying to buy the dang thing when it first came out, like morons, which is one reason why prices of phones stay so high. Main disadvantages, I like this. Okay, it's got the main advantages right here. So, scratch resistant screen glass, fingerprint resistant coating. Let's see. Autofocus camera. Disadvantages. Aluminum body looks cool, but it's easy to scratch. That's what I was talking about, the metal casings and everything. They're easy to scratch and dent. The connector, it needs an adapter. The new display is not proportionately bigger, but only taller. Unadapted apps around the letterbox due to unusual resolution. Nano SIM support only. Apple Maps app not up to scratch. No USB mass storage mode, which you can actually fix that if you jailbreak the phone. No radio, no stereo speakers, which means that you cannot put it on loudspeaker to where you can actually listen. No micro SD card, which I was talking about a second ago. No NFC connectivity. This is, though, that may be nitpicking. Stuck with iTunes for loading content. And I completely agree with that, because that's one reason why I don't go with iPhones, is because I do not want to be stuck having to go through iTunes to get every single thing I get as far as music, games, all that stuff. Because just about everything they have through there you have to pay for. Or you can go with Android and you can get something like Napster and pay $10 a month and you have unlimited everything as far as music goes. Or you don't even really have to do that. You can go to YouTube and download the music from YouTube or whatever you want to. On an iPhone, you can't download nothing from YouTube. So, it says mono audio recording and videos, so that really sucks. So basically, from what I'm looking at, it does have a lot of disadvantages compared to the Android. Like I said, me personally, I'm an Android fan. I think the iPhone is highly overrated. I think there's a lot of people out there that waste their money buying these iPhones, and then they get stuck with it, and they try to act like, oh, it's such a great phone just because they spent all that money getting the phone to begin with. But in the back of their mind, they're going, man, I got ripped the hell off because, I mean, it's pretty much does the same thing the old school Androids did. I mean, that's my personal opinion. But I wanted to give a shout out there to Jacob Thabalt for the suggestion on the iPhone 5 review. And I also wanted to say thank you to Stevie Rocker. Let me see if I can find his comment that he left to me. Okay, so here's where Jacob said that he has the iPhone 5, and then Stevie said he had the LGX Power. But I wanted to, like I said, he did contact me back on the LGX 5 or LGX. He said, "That's cool. Thanks. The speaker talking to the phone sounds good, but it seems like every charger I get never lasts. I use my phone a lot, but somehow the charger breaks and bends." Now, Stevie, as far as that goes, I can go ahead and tell you what the issue is with that. Chances are you're like me, you use your phone a lot when you're laying down or something like that, and you'll have it plugged in and you'll be using it. And the end of that cord, unfortunately, is most likely on the bottom of the phone, and you'll be holding it against your chest when you're laying down, and it'll bend the bottom of that cord, and it'll slowly bend it to where it pops it out of that thing, or it'll break it. So I understand that problem completely. My personal opinion, they should put the charger port on top of the phone
Or on the side.
or on the side. That way you can still hold the phone while you're laying down or whatever without that phone cord getting bent up. Because I go through charger cords right and left. Because these phones right here, we pretty much keep them on charger all the time. So we understand that comment completely. And thank you, Stevie, because you said you're welcome. You said when you go to your Pages Manager app where you can manage your Facebook page, it shows a message about the timeout. I know what you're talking about. And then it shows it a few times, and I press OK, and then it exits the home screen, and your wallpaper changes to black, and then it goes to a live wallpaper. Okay, that to me sounds like a glitch. Chances are I would go into my wallpaper settings and set it to a solid wallpaper, and then I would just reset the cookies on the Facebook Manager app, because sometimes they'll fight with each other. So if you reset that, it might fix your issue. I can't guarantee that, but let me know if that works for you, and I hope y'all enjoyed the review. Y'all have a great day. This is Random Nation out. Yeah.